Today, we will use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events. On the evening of December 8th, according to the latest news from the Canberra Times, a severe thunderstorm hit the Australian capital Canberra, causing widespread damage and calling for help from all over the city. Parts of Australia have experienced a series of extreme weather phenomena over the past few days, including thunderstorms, floods, heat waves and high winds, posing huge challenges and difficulties for rescue workers. Thunderstorms knocked out power to more than 16,000 homes, uprooted trees, destroyed cars, collapsed roofs, flooded roads and paralyzed traffic. The Bureau of Meteorology said 50 millimeters of rain fell in Canberra in just a few hours, half the average monthly rainfall. Major rainfall warnings have been issued as a heat wave sweeping much of South Australia begins to abate, with soaring temperatures giving way to flooding across the state. A long rain band stretching from eastern Victoria through southern South Australia to the northwest brought heavy rainfall, causing river levels to rise and flash flooding in some areas. South Australia's Adelaide Hills, Barossa Valley, Clare Valley, Flinders Ranges, Central District, York Peninsula, Upper Elstone, Upper Southeast and Lower East regions were affected by flooding impact. Thank you for liking, leaving comments, subscribing and turning on the little bell. We will update every day. New South Wales has seen huge swings in temperatures over the weekend, with mercury rising to around 40 degrees in the state's central west and coast on Saturday before falling as a strong southerly wind sweeps the coast, bringing thunderstorms. Around 10 degrees Celsius. This extreme temperature difference puts huge pressure on local health services. Australian Health Minister Ryan Packer said health services were stretched thin. Ambulance callouts in NSW are up about 80%, with paramedic calls up about 500. High winds damaged several homes on the Central Coast, with one house uninhabitable after its roof was ripped off during the storm, the NSW Emergency Service said. About 200 homes were still expected to be without power Sunday morning, with volunteers responding to 297 incidents across the state. Deputy Northern District Commander Superintendent Peter Keegan said 17 storm teams were on scene and 58 incidents were still being dealt with. Other parts of Australia are not immune to the threat of extreme weather. High rainfall is also expected over the weekend in parts of Victoria, Tasmania, southernmost New South Wales and the Northern Territory, which could cause flooding and landslides. The Meteorological Bureau reminds the public to pay attention to weather forecasts, avoid entering dangerous areas, follow the instructions of local governments and rescue agencies, and stay safe. Recently, the weather in Australia can be described as a world of ice and fire, with various extreme weather occurring frequently. On November 24, 2023, a bushfire in Perth, Australia, caused 10 houses to be destroyed. More than 150 firefighters battled a blaze in the city's northern suburbs that forced hundreds of local families out and sent embers raining down on their homes. A fire broke out in a nearby bush reserve. The wind was so strong that embers went sideways over fences and into backyards, and about 20 firefighters and local residents used garden hoses to put out the fierce blaze. Helicopters and fire crews continued to battle the blaze in sweltering 39 degrees temperatures. On that day, Western Australia continued to be hit by severe heat waves. The temperature in Perth reached 40 degrees Celsius on November 24th, with wind gusts as high as 80 kilometers per hour. As low-flying firefighting aircraft circled overhead, residents hosed down their homes and packed up their cars in preparation for evacuations. Others installed sprinklers on their roofs or stood in their front yards, watching the smoke approaching their homes. Western Australia Deputy Prime Minister Rita said the situation for firefighters was challenging and many properties had been significantly damaged. It will take time to restore critical infrastructure operations after multiple utility poles were damaged. The government is assessing property damage in order to notify evacuated residents, fearing more destroyed homes may be found. More than 1,000 properties in the bushfire area are without power, but many more dedicated residents are pitching in to fight the blaze, with more than 500 emergency services crews called to the scene. The Australian Prime Minister said that 18 houses were confirmed to have been destroyed in this incident. According to the affected state government, 18 square kilometers of bush and grassland were burned. Why is Australia frequently affected by extreme weather, with high temperatures, storms, and floods often occurring and affecting each other at the same time? The reasons are extremely complex. First, Australia is uniquely located in the southern hemisphere and is affected by multiple climate systems. These climate systems include temperature changes in the ocean and atmosphere that occur in the tropical Pacific, a phenomenon that sometimes results in warmer waters, called El Niño, and sometimes cooler waters, called La Nina, and in the Indian Ocean. Changes in temperature and airflow, a phenomenon that sometimes results in warmer seas in the west and cooler seas in the east, is called a positive phase and sometimes causes the opposite, called a negative phase. Secondly, there is a strong westward airflow over the Southern Ocean, which sometimes moves south and sometimes moves north. This phenomenon is called the Southern Hemisphere annular mode. Changes in these climate systems will lead to extreme weather events of different types and intensities in Australia, such as heat waves, droughts, heavy rains, floods, storms and fires. In recent years, with the intensification of global climate warming, extreme weather in Australia has become more frequent and severe, causing huge losses and threats to humans and nature. In addition, heat waves and droughts are among the most common weather extremes in Australia, and they are often associated with El Niño and the positive Indian Ocean dipole. When these two phenomena occur, the eastern and southern regions of Australia will be affected by unusually strong downdrafts, resulting in reduced precipitation, increased temperatures, dry soil, withered vegetation, water shortages, and damage to agriculture and livestock. Even cause forest fires. What's more, according to the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, Australia has experienced 10 severe droughts in the past 120 years, the longest of which lasted 12 years from 1997 to 2009 and was called the Millennium Drought. It cannot be ignored that in 2019, Australia's average temperature was 1.52 degrees Celsius above average, a record high, and it was also the driest year on record. This resulted in Australia's Black Summer of 2019 to 2020, during which bushfires of unprecedented scale occurred, burning approximately 18.6 million hectares of land, killing at least 34 people, leaving thousands homeless, and killing and injuring countless animals, and economic losses of tens of billions of dollars. Heavy rainfall and flooding are another common extreme weather event in Australia, often associated with La Nina and the negative phase of the Indian Ocean dipole. When these two phenomena occur, eastern and northern parts of Australia will be affected by unusually strong updrafts, leading to increased precipitation, lower temperatures, rising river water levels, and flash floods and urban waterlogging in some areas. According to the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, Australia has experienced 10 severe floods in the past 120 years, the most serious of which occurred in 1974, when the eastern and northern parts of Australia were hit by more than 20 tropical cyclones, resulting in caused widespread flooding and storm surge, killing 15 people, injuring thousands, and causing hundreds of millions of dollars in economic damage. Storms are another common form of extreme weather in Australia, and they can be divided into two types: tropical cyclones and extratropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones are intense low-pressure systems that form over tropical or subtropical oceans. They are usually accompanied by strong winds, heavy rains, and storm surges, causing damage to coastal and inland areas. Extratropical cyclones are low-pressure systems that form in mid and high latitudes. They are usually accompanied by strong winds, rain, and hail, causing damage to coastal and inland areas. Storm activity in Australia is affected by a variety of climate factors, including El Niño and La Nina phenomena, the Indian Ocean dipole phenomenon, the Southern Hemisphere annular mode phenomenon, seasonal changes, and climate warming. According to the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, Australia is affected by an average of 11 tropical cyclones every year, of which about 4 make landfall, causing casualties and property damage. In 2011, Tropical Cyclone Yossi hit Queensland, killing 35 people, leaving thousands homeless, and causing economic losses of approximately $9 billion. Australia is also affected by hundreds of extratropical cyclones each year, some of which develop into East Coast depressions, causing severe impacts in New South Wales and Victoria. Like Australia, there are many countries around the world where extreme weather often occurs. They generally have vast territories and complex and diverse geographical features. Therefore, governments often have to deal with complex and changing disaster relief and rescue needs. These countries are mainly located in tropical and subtropical regions and are affected by similar climate systems. The first is India, a large country located in South Asia. Its climate is affected by monsoons, El Niño and La Niña phenomena, and the Indian Ocean dipole. India has a diverse climate, ranging from the cold Himalayas to the hot deserts and coastal plains. India is often hit by extreme weather such as high temperatures and heat waves, droughts, floods, storms and tropical cyclones, causing a large number of casualties and property losses. For example, in June 2023, northern and central India encountered a sustained high-temperature heat wave, with the highest temperature reaching over 50 degrees Celsius, resulting in nearly 170 deaths. In July 2023, western and central India was hit by heavy rainfall and floods, resulting in hundreds of deaths and millions of people affected. Followed by Brazil, it is a large country located in South America. Its climate is affected by the South Atlantic High, Amazon Low, El Niño and La Niña phenomena, and the South Atlantic Dipole. Brazil also has a diverse climate, ranging from tropical rainforests to temperate grasslands and semi-arid areas. Extreme weather such as high temperatures and heat waves, droughts, heavy rains, floods, storms and tropical cyclones often occurs in Brazil, which has serious impacts on humans and nature. What cannot be ignored is the Philippines. It is an archipelago country located in Southeast Asia. Its climate is affected by the Northwest Pacific high pressure, the East Asian monsoon, El Niño and La Niña phenomena, and tropical cyclones. The climate of the Philippines is a tropical maritime climate, with high temperatures and rainy weather throughout the year, but there are also dry and wet seasons. The Philippines is one of the countries with the most frequent tropical cyclones in the world. It is affected by an average of more than 20 tropical cyclones every year, some of which will develop into super typhoons, causing catastrophic consequences. In addition to tropical cyclones, extreme weather such as high temperatures and heat waves, droughts, heavy rains and floods often occur in the Philippines, posing a huge threat to people's life and property safety and economic development. For example, in November 2023, the Philippines was hit by Super Typhoon Haiyan, with maximum wind speeds reaching 315 kilometers per hour. Millions of people were affected and billions of dollars in economic losses were caused. Globally, when it comes to dealing with extreme weather, some countries' experiences and measures are worth learning from. The first is Japan. Although it is a disaster-prone country and is often hit by natural disasters such as typhoons, earthquakes, and tsunamis, Japan has strong disaster prevention and reduction capabilities, mainly due to its complete disaster prevention system, advanced scientific and technological means, strict construction standards, extensive educational propaganda and drills, etc. Japan has established a disaster prevention system involving the government, enterprises, social organizations, and the public, formulated detailed disaster prevention plans and emergency plans, established a national disaster prevention information platform, and achieved the timely release and sharing of disaster information. Japan has also used satellites, radars, sensors, and other scientific and technological means to improve its monitoring and early warning capabilities for extreme weather, and established the world's largest earthquake early warning system, which can issue early warnings from seconds to tens of seconds before an earthquake occurs, providing people with precious time to escape. In addition, Japan has also formulated strict building standards, requiring buildings to have earthquake resistance, fire prevention, flood prevention, and other functions. At the same time, Japan also focuses on disaster prevention education and publicity, popularizing disaster prevention knowledge and skills through schools, media, communities, and other channels. regularly organize disaster prevention drills to improve people's awareness of disaster prevention and self-rescue capabilities, followed by Germany, which is the largest economy in Europe and the world's leading promoter of clean energy and low-carbon technologies. Its main measure to deal with extreme weather is to implement an energy transition strategy, that is, from relying on fossil energy to renewable energy. Transform to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and reduce the risk of climate change. Germany has also strengthened R&D and innovation in renewable energy and low-carbon technologies, established a number of national and local-level research institutions and innovation platforms, and cultivated a number of leading clean energy and low-carbon technology companies, forming a high-quality green talent team. Germany's energy transition strategy is not only conducive to reducing dependence on fossil energy and reducing carbon emissions, but also conducive to improving energy security, creating jobs, promoting economic growth, and improving international competitiveness. What cannot be ignored is New Zealand. It is an island country and faces threats from climate change such as rising sea levels, storm surges, and droughts. Thank you for liking, leaving a message, subscribing, and turning on the little bell. We will update the latest news from around the world every day. Continue to use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events.